ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. So we start from verse 24 today, and having done verse 23rd, this seems like a bit of a repetition, but it's not really a repetition. It is trying to emphasize what it said and clarify it a bit more. अच्छेद्योऽयम् अदाह्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः. It says, this self cannot be cut, nor burnt, nor wetted, nor dried up. It is eternal, all-pervading, stable, immovable, and ancient. Now, so many epithets to describe the one big reality. And it says, Achedyoyam. So we had discussed that in the last verse, it had said, Nenam Chindanti Shastrani. So you can pierce. Ched, ched karna, to pierce. So, achedyoyam, you cannot pierce it. That means you cannot cut it or pierce it with any instrument. Then he says, adhayo, you cannot burn it. Akledyo, it cannot be wetted. And then it says, ashursham, it cannot be dried. Evacha, and. So, before we go to the next second line, all these show that it is very, very subtle, and the five elements cannot destroy it. Whether they are gross or they are subtle, it is subtler. This great grand reality is subtler. Now, I told you that subtlety is measured in philosophy as pervasiveness. Now, this is more pervasive than the mind. It is more pervasive than the intellect because it is subtler. It cannot be grasped by the mind or the intellect. Now, see, as I told you last time also, the mind moves in terms of the known. It cannot visualize anything which it has not known. And I'd given you the example that you have to explain to the mind in terms of the known. Now, this is very explicitly explained by Plato in his Republic, Book 10. And he gives the example of a caveman, which I had referred to. I am just elaborating on it to make it clear to you. There was a family which lives in a cave. It is born there, it lives there. It eats up all the bats and insects and reptiles that crawl in the cave. They have never gone out of the cave. They have never seen sunlight, trees, river, anything. So they have no idea. It's a deep cave. Now, one of the youngsters one day decides to keep moving. He was told not to go, but he still goes in the complete darkness, feeling his way. Sometimes his head hits something. Plato has given details. But he goes clearly out of the cave and he starts seeing some kind of a light. He has never seen a light before. So he feels blinded, but still he continues to go. And he comes out of the cave. Once he comes out of the cave, oh, there's a different, absolutely new world for him. He sees trees, flowers, rivers, sunshine, houses, so many things which he had never imagined. Now he revels there, he feels all those things, sees those things, and then he decides to bring his family out and make them experience this. So when he makes his way right back into the cave, the elders think he has gone mad. When he starts talking about all those things, the other members of the family say, "You are talking rubbish and nonsense. There is no such thing." Because in his mental experience, those things existed. In their mental experiences, none of that existed. So he could not give the color of the plant as green, the shape of the plant, the flow of the river, the thing, nothing he could explain. So Plato gives this example to tell you that the mind can only revel in the field of the known. Now, he says over here that it is subtler than the intellect also. The intellect revels even in the field of the unknown, in the field of the known, as well as in the field of the unknown, because the intellect has new ideas, it has imagination. It goes from the field of the known to the field of the unknown. It tries to suppose things, it tries to imagine new forms which it has never seen. So all that is the field of the intellect. Even decision making, this, that, and the other, intellect has a different field, but this is subtler than that. And since it is subtler than that also, it can go into realms of the unknown. It goes into the realms of the unknown. And that is why we find that none of the five elements are able to destroy it in any way. So their powers become useless, and this whole story of the Kane Upanishad fits in here very beautifully. But I'm not going into that right now. Just understand that since it has no spaces in between, it cannot be wetted. Something can only be wetted by water if there are spaces in between, which humidity will fill. Similarly, air. And it cannot dry up anything which does not have spaces. So here it is, he says that it is something which the fire cannot burn, the water cannot wet, and the air cannot dry up. Now, coming to the next line, it says, Nitya Sarvagata Sthanur Achaloyam Sanatanaha. Look how many: one, two, three, four, five. It gives these five descriptive words. Now, we have often said that it cannot be described. But again, it is giving these words to you to describe to you in terms of the known. Nitya can be described only with reference to anitya. Something that is impermanent, we know. We know it. Impermanent world, we all know. So this world is nitya. This great grand reality is nitya. Nitya means eternal. Now, eternal, and he says it is eternal, and he says sarvagata. Sarvagata means all pervading. So, how do I say all pervading? Okay, it is like this. When I say that the mind pervades the dream, or the mind pervades all the objects in the dream, then I can say the mind completely pervades the dream, right? There is nothing else in the dream except the mind. Though you see different things, yet it is nothing else but the mind. Similarly, when you say over here that it is sarvagata, sarvagata means it pervades everything. And nitya means it is timeless. It was always there, it is there, and it will forever be there. Now, he says, look at these other two words, sthanur and achaloyam. Sthanor means stable. Sthita. It has come from the word sthita, sthan. Sthan, you know. Sthan means one place. So something that is stationed, sthit in one place, established in one place, is called sthanor. And achala means that which cannot move. Chala means moving, and achala means not moving. Again, with reference to this word, I want to bring to your notice that whether the sun rises and the sun sets was discovered much later by the West. But here, even in the scriptures, the sun is called achala, that which does not move. So you see it rising and you see it setting, but even in those days they knew that it is achala. Otherwise, how do they get that word? They have always called the sun achala. Now, Sanor, basically, see, you can understand that something that is all pervading, huh? Sarvagata has got no shape and no form. It cannot have a shape and a form. Only something that is limited or is in a limited place can have a form, a shape, and a name. But something, see, you cannot travel from shoulder to shoulder. If I can only go from somewhere where I am to somewhere where I am not, right? Now, something which is everywhere, where does it go? So it is a chala, meaning it can travel nowhere. It is everywhere. Movement is only possible in space. But something that is beyond space, movement is not possible. Then see, everything exists in him. There is nothing beyond him. Just like I gave you the example of the mind and the dream. Everything that you see in the dream exists only in the mind, not beyond the mind. So here it is, the wave cannot make a pilgrimage to see the ocean. It is in the ocean, born of the ocean, dies into the ocean, and it is the ocean. So, if you say the ocean pervades all the waves, the ocean alone pervades the foam, the bubbles, the rafters. Well, that is the example. You know, you cannot, no wave can claim a different identity. It is within the ocean. Now, since there are these two words he uses, one is sthanur and the other is achala. Now, sthanur can also not move from one place in time to another place. A sthanur is a thing like a tree, which is stable in one place, but some parts of it can move, right? So there is a partial movement. So the teacher here says that it is Thanur, but thinking that the student will misunderstand it to have movement, he immediately changes it to Achala, and he says it is Achala. It is established in one place, it is established. Here, Thanur just means Sthita, it means established, no movement. And then he quickly reassures it with another word saying it is achala. They have almost the same meaning. So the truth is not only stable at the base, but it is also firm at the top. There is no movement possible in its infinite glory. No movement possible. So, next word he uses is sanatana. Now, Sanatana means ancient. We all know that literal meaning is ancient. But Sanatana, now just think about it. The Sanatana, when he uses, he means to say that it is not only ancient, but Krishna is not giving it out as a new theory. It is time proven and tested by so many rishis and so many deep thinkers in philosophy, that he says that if something is timeless, then that is what the scriptures call as akala purusha. Even the Granth Sahib uses the word akala. The Sikh greeting is the most beautiful greeting in the world. It says Sat Shri Akal. All these three words define the reality. So when they say Sat Shri Akala, it means that I salute you who is the same as me, that permanent great reality. Sat means the truth, Shri, the glory, and Akal, which is timeless. It is not bound in time ever. So it is called Sanatana. And he says here that, see, uh, these two meanings, one of course is a very obvious meaning, ancient, and so it is not a new idea by Krishna. Now he says something that is unconditioned by time and place. Now you say there is no such thing. Also understand that time and place are also interchangeable. You measure distance in terms of sound and light. You say this planet is so many light years away. You are measuring the speed of light with, you are interchanging it with distance. When you say the plane broke the sound barrier, you are measuring speed again in terms of sound. Somebody asks you, how far is your house from mine? And you say it is a 10 minutes drive, or you say it is 10 minutes. He is asking you the distance, he is not asking you the time, but you interchange it, right? So that which is ancient or timeless is also, the timeless is also beyond space. So it is beyond time and beyond space, and that is what one has to realize, that how subtle it is. Now we come to the next verse. Avyaktoyam achintoyam avikaryoyam tasmadevam viditvainam nanushochitumarhase. Now, nan anushochitumarhase. This phrase, it's a mixture of two, three words. Now, here, this phrase comes in the next, there are three verses together which all end with nanushochitumarhase. Na, this is na anushochit tumarhase. So it is three words saying that you should not grieve. Na means no, it's a negative. So no, na, anushoch, shoch is grief. And anushoch is grieving every day. There's this word anu means daily, every day. So when it is put in front of any other word, it means it continues that word. Like you say, Anudin Patrika, a newspaper in UP is called Anudin Patrika. So Anudin Patrika means daily newspaper. Anuradha, Anurag, Anurag, rag is love. Rag, which is every day, never changing, is called Anurag. Anuradha, Radha meaning a devotion. So Anuradha, that devotion which is every day, which is nitya, which will never change. So anu only means continuously doing something. So here when you say nanu shochanti, that means don't every day grieve. Grieving is allowed, yes, when there is any kind of grief in the house. Grieving is allowed, but not every day, every day, every day. You have to limit it. You must snap out of it. You must come out of it, understanding that you are grieving for the impermanent, whereas the Atma is permanent. The ultimate reality is permanent. So, any member of the family who has passed away, has not gone anywhere from anywhere. He is still there. The Atma that he was embodying is still there. Only the body has been destroyed, which is there in all our philosophy. Then he says, see, avyaktoyam achintyoyam. Now, this self is said to be unmanifested, unthinkable, unchangeable. Therefore, knowing this to be such, you should not grieve, he says. Now, he says it is said to be. You know, whenever you are giving out a philosophy, a new idea, which you think that people will not accept, here is a doubting Arjun. Here is the student sitting who doubts everything his teacher says and questions everything his teacher says, doesn't take it lying down. And Krishna knows it. So Krishna says that I am not saying this. He says it is said. Now, see, when you want people to believe something, even in the West, they when they want you to swallow something they are giving out, some knowledge they are giving out, they always start with three magical words: recent research shows. Now, the moment they say recent research shows, you take it as the oracle of the Delphi, you take it as a permanent truth, right? You do not want to even question that. Now, you don't even ask which research shows, how many people did you question, how many people did you test, where was the research held, nothing. वो उतना काफी है, that much is enough. That recent research shows. Now, Krishna over here is saying that it is said. So, it is said by whom? He is obviously quoting the old ancient philosophers, the rishis, the munis, the great thinkers who have written the scriptures, or composed, not written, composed the scriptures, because it was an oral tradition. Now he says the self, it is said, to be unmanifested. Okay, what is unmanifest? Unmanifest is that power which acts but is not, it is not possible for the senses to see it. That is called unmanifest. Now, there are many things unmanifest, you know, gravity is unmanifest, space is unmanifest, air is unmanifest. There are so many things that are unmanifest, but you feel them, you know them, and scientifically it is proven that they exist. So, here when he says that it is unmanifested, so it is unthinkable also, because you can only think, as I told you, with the mind and intellect. So, something which you have never seen or heard about, you cannot think about it. The five senses, it is beyond the grasp of the five senses. That is all it means when he says unthinkable. It is not intellectually, but you know, when he says knowing, therefore knowing this, it is not knowing intellectually, it is totally understanding it and totally realizing it spiritually. So, when you have awakened to a certain reality, that is what he means by saying knowing. So, knowing this to be such, you should not grieve. And he also uses other two: unmanifested to hai, rishis were authorities, and so you should believe them. Unthinkable and unchangeable. Unthinkable. Thinking is done with the mind and intellect. Something which is beyond the mind and intellect, you cannot grasp, which they have never seen. You cannot know. But being sthit in this, you should not grieve, knowing this to be a reality. Now, the verse gives us endless courage to live life fearlessly in this world. Because if the life force in you is permanent, whether there's a nuclear blast or whatsoever there is, it cannot be destroyed. It can only destroy the body, which, as I told you, is made up of five elements or made up of food, which definitely can be destroyed. But This great grand truth is avikari, as he says. The vikar means change. So it does not change. There is no recycling in it. Like you get recycled into food, there is no recycling here. It belongs to the realm which is beyond time. Your body belongs to the realm of time. So here he says that it is avikari, that there is no change in it whatsoever. It will never change. Only the body changes. The body will change. Now, here you see, when you say that this will never change, whether there is any kind of destruction, nuclear destruction, or any other destruction, you will get other bodies because your desires are still there, your shopping list is still there. So, he will give you a world that you desire with the same brand of troubles that you desire. You desire the similar kind of world that you have. Now, unmanifest, another example. Gurudev gives the example here of a mango seed. In the mango seed, you can not visualize the tree, you cannot visualize the sapling, the tree, the leaves, the fruit, the flowers of the mango, and also the mango itself. You cannot visualize any of that. But the seed contains the possibility of all that. So, all these, the tree, the fruit, the flowers, the leaves are unmanifest in the seed of the mango. Similarly, the truth is unmanifest and it cannot be seen through the senses. Now, the seer cannot be the seen. We know this, right? So, and it is something like this, that it is beyond the senses. It is beyond the realm of the senses. Okay. Now, here, unthinkable, he says. Unthinkable, as I told you, achintyam. He uses the word achintyam. So, that is like the torch cannot see its own battery. I had given you the example. The telescope cannot turn on the viewer. It can only see beyond. So it becomes an instrument of perceiving something far beyond. But if the telescope cannot turn onto the viewer of the telescope, he cannot see who is viewing. So avikari we have done. So that we have done, and then so Krishna again now here advises Arjun not to grieve. Since all these epithets, if you see, all these epithets are of something that is permanent, which will never change, which will always be there, which is timeless, it is beyond space. So then what is there to grieve about? Okay, now you come to the next verse. Now, in the next verse, Krishna changes his argument. The argument he is giving over here is that supposing the materialist says that no, all this that you are philosophizing, we don't believe in it. We only believe the fact that there was a body, we were attached to that body, and that body gets destroyed. So, shouldn't we grieve? Why shouldn't we grieve? So, granting that the self is not everlasting, suppose this is the materialist's argument that no, we continue to be born and we continue to die, and so we will grieve. Krishna takes up the same argument that he says, see, atha chainam nitya jatam nityam va manyase mritam tathapi tvam mahabaho naivam shochitumarhase. See, in the second line again he uses naivam. He said nanu shochitumarhase. Here he says naivam shochitumarhase. Again the same thing. He says, but even if you think of him as being constantly born and constantly dying, even then, O mighty arm, you should not grieve because it is inevitable. Something that is born already has an expiry date stamped on it as death. For sure it has. Just think about it. Do you know of anything that does not change or that does not get destroyed? Anything at all. Think about it. Right from ancient history onwards, there is nothing. And here, by saying mighty armed, Mahabaho means mighty armed, and he challenges his manliness. He says that, why are you weeping? Huh? Why are you jittery? Why are you so nervous? Are you a man or not? Or are you a nincompoop? Are you a coward? So he's challenging his manliness by the word Mahabahu. And he says, see, uh, even if you think that the self is born and dies, okay, this is the materialist point of view. He says that it is a continuous process, death and life, death and life, again you are born. So some if you say that the born will die, then you also understand that the one that has died will also be born. Otherwise, think, how are you here? The cause, there has been a cause of your birth in the stipulated time and situation in which you are. There has to be a cause for it. There is no effect without a cause. And the effect is the same thing as a cause in a different form. The cause pervades the effect. So you also have a cause. There is a cause for this particular birth in a certain given family, in a certain given situation and circumstance. There was a cause. Why were you not born to the neighbor? No, you were not. So, according to your past karma, we will come to the karma theory in chapter 3 and 4. But according to the karma theory, your karmas and your mental impressions determine the kind of body you will get in this life. Actresses are born very beautiful. Why not you and I? Weightlifters are born with a lot of strength. Why not you and I? A singer is born with a beautiful voice. See, just come to think of it. If Sachin Tendulkar was asked to sing like Lata Mangeshkar, or Lata Mangeshkar was asked to bowl or bat like Sachin Tendulkar, or nowadays Virat Kohli, that's not possible. They have got a birth according to their impressions and their karma, their desires of the past. And that is the body they have got. The body has been given for a certain given purpose. And therefore, anyone who dies with whatever impressions in his mind, whatever desires in his mind, he leaves the body, he will get another body. The mind and intellect equipment will transform into a womb of its desire. Like somebody asked Gurudev that, Gurudev, does it mean that we can also become animals? So he answered that yes, if your desire is only to eat and sleep and do nothing else, you will be transferred into the womb of Mother Pig. Again, all your life you can just eat and sleep and nothing else to do. So that is it, that according to your desires, you take the form. When this body becomes unfit to fulfill the desires you had, you need another equipment. Just like if you go to play tennis, you have to change your clothes. If you go for swimming, you have to wear a costume. If you're going to the office, you are in a business suit. And if you're going for a trek, you are or in a tracksuit, right? So you keep changing your dress according to the activity which you intend to indulge in. Similarly, the body gets transferred even after death. So don't think that once the body is destroyed, the human being is destroyed. Even the materialist should understand that he will be born again, even if you take it as again born and again death. Okay? come to the next verse. Yes, and also he says, look what he says. He says mritam, he says nityava manyase mritam. Even if you think that it is going to be destroyed, everything is going to be destroyed, as I told you. Everything will be destroyed except the great friend reality that supports all the change. And here, no matter what you achieve, no matter how much of money you accumulate, how much of power you accumulate, however important you are, no matter what skills you gain, it is all a signature on water. It disappears just as fast. Tell me, how many of you remember your great grandfather? Do you remember the achievements of your great grandfather or great great grandfather? Do you even know the name? Where is it all? Surely he achieved things in his life. You know nothing. So just think that what is the importance of all that you garner, all your efforts. And that is why he says that don't cry for the bubble that has burst. He says, Nevam shochitumarhase. It is not worth crying for the bubble that has burst. You are also a bubble which will burst. Okay. Now, this next verse, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhur dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad apariharyerthe na tvam shochitumarhase. Again, look what he says. He says that this is inevitable. For certain is death for the born, and certain is birth for the dead. Therefore, over the inevitable, you should not grieve. Rather, rejoice for someone who passed away, that he will now no longer have to live with a diseased body. He will get a new, fresh, capable body, mind, and intellect with which he can fulfill his desires. Why do you cling on to that body? You are grieving unnecessarily. Hmm? So it is as inevitable as the sun that rises and the sun that sets. It is only a fool who mourns for the setting of the sun. You should know that it will come up again next day, and it will come up earlier on Monday, right? So you have to think about it, that it's something that is totally inevitable. There is no need to worry about it, but enjoy it, celebrate it, like the waves of the sea. See, somebody who is waiting for the waves of the sea to die down, that there should be no change, only then he can dip into the water, is foolish. The waves of the sea will never die down. The waves will rise up and the waves will go back into the water. So, if there is a man standing in a towel on the beach waiting for the waves to subside, it will never happen. It is inevitable that the wave will rise, and also inevitable, unavoidable, that the wave will go back into it. So, this is an arrangement. If you are standing in the sun in the summer, isn't it foolish to complain about the heat and the sweat that you are getting? So, in something that has got no remedy, you should not mourn. Having come to life, to complain against the very nature of life. The nature of life is change. So, to complain against the very nature of life is foolishness. Be prepared for it, expect it, expect it to change. Somebody whom you love, you start hating. Somebody whom you misunderstood, you have now understood. Even in the realm of emotions, change comes. Even in the realm of your mind, change comes. So, what to talk of the body? Change will happen in the body. It will always happen. Now, think of Krishna also. He keeps smiling amid change. Look at his life. Just see his life. You know what a when he sees his friend weeping in life, he is trying to smile and give his own example by saying that, look at me. When he smiles, he means, look at me. Even before he was born, the very fact that his mother was expecting him, his mother and father were thrown into jail. As soon as he was born, he was snatched away from his mother and transferred to somewhere else, to a new place, new parents, new situation. How great is that for a newborn? Then, within a few days of his birth, Putana comes to kill him, to feed him poisonous milk. Then, one after the other, demons are sent to destroy him. You have all kinds of demons coming, Vritrasur and this one and that one, you know, and they all came to destroy him. Now, also understand, Krishna, even when he grew up, as a young boy, he is invited to Vrindavan when he is only in his teens. Sorry, not to Vrindavan, to Mathura, to be killed by his uncle Kansa. Even when he gains a kingdom, the clan that he rules over is destroyed in the sea. His whole kingdom goes into the sea. But does Krishna cry? Having been born to a prince and a princess, he lives the life of a shepherd boy, ordinary shepherd boy. Look how much he enjoys it. He doesn't cry, he doesn't weep over anything. Leaving Vrindavan, he loved the gopis very much. The gopis loved him very much. In fact, that is given as an example of love. The gopis' love. Unique love. But does Krishna even once look back? Does he even once return to Radha, whom he loved so much? No. Doesn't mean that he stopped loving Radha, but he embraces change as it comes, and he continues to live joyfully in his life with every kind of change. And here, see, uh, before we do the next stanza, because time is up, connecting this stanza with the following, Shankara says, neither is it proper to grieve over beings which are mere combinations of material causes and effects. And he gives an example. Now, Gurudev used to say that doctors and actors will understand the Gita very quickly because in their field of work, they continuously see change. They continuously see people being born and dying. And they cannot help in the least bit in it. So they will understand it very quickly that there is some great grand reality that supports a body, and when the body does not require it, the body leaves, detaches, and takes on another form. So we leave it here this time, and we will do it from the verse 28 next time. ॐ पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेव वशिष्यते श्री सद्गुरुवे नमः हरि ओम।